You sit at your desk, staring at your notes, but nothing seems to stick. The test is coming up, and the pressure is building. Sound familiar? Memorizing for a test isn't just about cramming, it's about using the right techniques to absorb and retain information efficiently. Whether you're struggling with formulas, historical dates, or complex concepts, there's a method that can make studying easier and more effective. In this video, we'll break down science-backed memory techniques like active recall, spaced repetition, and mind mapping. You'll learn how to train your brain to retain information longer and recall it effortlessly during your test. Whether you're preparing for a school exam, an important certification, or even a quiz, these strategies will help you study smarter, not harder. So, let's dive in and unlock the secrets to mastering memory. Active recall. David, a college student, struggled with memorizing for his final exam on May 15, 2024. No matter how much he read his notes, nothing stuck. One day, his professor told him about active recall, a method where instead of just reading, you test yourself repeatedly. Determined to try, David wrote down key questions on flashcards and covered his notes. He forced himself to recall answers without looking. At first it was tough, but by the third day he started remembering more. He also used the Feynman technique, pretending to teach his little brother. Explaining the concepts in simple words made everything clearer. To strengthen her learning, Emily used an app called Anki, which automatically scheduled reviews. Instead of forgetting after a week, her memory got stronger over time. By June 18, she felt confident. On June 20, during the exam, she recalled even the toughest terms effortlessly. When results came on July 5, she had scored 94%. Emily realized that spaced repetition wasn't just a study trick, it was a game changer. She never crammed again, and from that day, every test felt easier. Mnemonics acronyms. Jake, a history student, struggled to remember the U.S. presidents in order for his final exam on August 10, 2024. No matter how many times he read them, he kept forgetting names like James Monroe, Andrew Jackson, and Martin Van Buren. One day, his teacher introduced him to mnemonics acronyms, a technique where boring facts are turned into funny, memorable phrases. Jake decided to create his own mnemonic sentence using the first letters of the president's names. For Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, he came up with, "Will a jolly man make money?" For Jackson, Van Buren, Harrison, Tyler, Polk, he used, "Just very happy tigers play." At first it seemed silly, but by repeating the funny sentences daily, Jake started recalling the names instantly. He even made rhymes for historical dates like, "In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue." By August 5, Jake could recite all the presidents in order without effort. On August 10, he aced the test. When grades were released on August 20, he scored 96%. Mnemonics had turned his struggle into success, and from that day, he used them for every subject. Mind mapping. Sophia, a college student, struggled with her philosophy exam on September 15, 2024. The subject was full of complex theories from philosophers like Plato, Aristotle, and Kant, and no matter how much she read, everything felt disconnected. One day, her professor introduced her to mind mapping, a technique that visually organizes information using diagrams. Excited to try it, Sophia took a blank sheet and wrote philosophy theories in the center. From there, she branched out different topics: ancient philosophy, Plato, Socrates, Aristotle; modern philosophy, Descartes, Kant, Nietzsche; ethics, utilitarianism, deontology, virtue ethics. She added keywords, arrows, and even small doodles to make connections between ideas. Instead of reading long paragraphs, she started reviewing her colorful map daily. By September 10, everything made sense. On September 15, during the exam, she visualized the map in her head and easily recalled key concepts. When results came on September 25, she had scored 93%. Mind mapping had transformed her study method forever, proving that a picture is truly worth 1,000 words. Chunking method. Daniel, an engineering student, faced a major challenge. He had to memorize PIP, up to 50 digits for his mathematics Olympiad on October 12, 2024. Every time he looked at the long sequence, 314,159,265,358,979, his brain froze. His mentor introduced him to the chunking method, a technique where large amounts of data are broken into smaller, manageable groups. Instead of trying to memorize the whole number at once, Daniel divided it into chunks of 5 digits. 3.1415, 92,653, 58,979, 32,384. He practiced each chunk separately, repeating them aloud and writing them down. By October 1, he could recall the first 25 digits effortlessly. To make it easier, he associated each chunk with something memorable like his birth year, 1997, or his school ID, 2384. By October 10, he had mastered all 50 digits. On October 12, during the Olympiad, he confidently recited them without a mistake. When results were announced on October 20, he had won first place. Daniel realized that chunking wasn't just for numbers. It worked for everything, from phone numbers to study notes. From that day, he used it for every subject and never felt overwhelmed again. Teaching someone else. Olivia, a medical student, had a big challenge. She needed to grasp the human nervous system for her anatomy exam on November 18, 2024. Reading textbooks wasn't helping, and memorization felt impossible. Her professor suggested a powerful trick: teach someone else. Skeptical at first, Olivia decided to explain concepts to her younger brother, Ethan, using simple language. Starting with the brain, she compared its parts to a control center. The spinal cord became a superhighway carrying messages. She used fun examples, like comparing neurons to phone wires. Each time she struggled, she returned to her notes, refined her understanding, and tried again. By November 10, complex topics felt easy. On November 18, the test felt effortless. When results came on November 25, she scored 95%. Teaching had transformed her learning, proving that the best way to understand something is to explain it. Memorizing for a test isn't about last-minute cramming or staring at notes for hours. It's about using smart strategies that help your brain absorb and retain information efficiently. Throughout these stories, we saw how different techniques transform students from struggling learners to top performers. David mastered his syllabus using active recall, challenging his brain instead of passively reading. Emily retained difficult medical terms with spaced repetition, reviewing at strategic intervals. Jake made history fun with mnemonics acronyms, turning boring facts into memorable phrases. Sophia simplified complex theories using mind mapping, visually connecting ideas for better understanding. Daniel tackled long sequences with chunking, breaking information into smaller, digestible parts. Olivia achieved mastery through teaching, explaining concepts to solidify her own knowledge. Each method works differently, but together they form a powerful study system that can make any exam feel easier. Instead of relying on one technique, try combining multiple strategies using mnemonics for definitions, spaced repetition for long-term retention, and teaching to strengthen weak areas. But remember, studying isn't just about techniques. It's also about discipline, consistency, and a healthy mindset. Good sleep, balanced nutrition, and stress management are just as important as the methods you use. So, whether you're preparing for a final exam, certification, or competitive test, start applying these techniques today. Don't just study harder, study smarter. Your brain will thank you, and your grades will show the difference.